Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and a very warm welcome to all of you who have joined us this evening. Thank you. It's been a pleasure to see you all joining in as we start this webinar this evening. I'm Ben Daniel, Chief Editor of Packaging MEA magazine. Packaging MEA, as most of you are well aware of, it's a B2B publication focusing on technology and business in and around the packaging industry. And we are the voice and pulse of the packaging industry for the Middle East and Africa region. Today's webinar is on the topic, top trends and emerging technologies in preform-based PET packaging. And we're going to see how to maximize production, efficiency, and competitiveness in the coming decade, along with Husky injection molding systems. Today, we will discuss top trends in preform-based packaging production and showcase the latest technologies that will help you succeed. Specifically, we will be touching on the growing opportunity for preform-based applications. We'll also be having a look at how to adapt to evolving consumer preferences. And then we'll also have a look at the increasing demand for sustainable packaging production and what you can do about it. And after that, we'll also have a deep dive into how expert system monitoring is giving producers a key competitive advantage. And then we'll also be having a look at the latest ways to increase production efficiency and output. So we would love to have your questions on the topic that we are having this evening, and we'll try our best to answer them. So please type in your questions on the chat box that you find on the right side corner. So I'd like to introduce to you our speaker for the evening, Philip Parabit, who's the Business Development Manager for Husky Technologies. Philip has been Business Development Manager at Husky since January 2020. He joined Husky in 2006 as part of the engineering team and has since held a number of progressive technical and management roles within the rigid packaging organization in Canada, in Singapore, in China, in Thailand, and now he's here in the UAE. Philip holds a bachelor's degree from the University of Waterloo, Canada, in mechanical engineering. Without taking more of your time, over to you, Philip.
Thank you, Ben, very much, and thank you all for joining this webinar. I hope this webinar will be instructive and provide you interesting information about where we see PET packaging evolving in the coming years and how Husky can support you to adapt and grow your business in the future. So without further ado, let us begin. We will start the discussion about what we are hearing from our customers. And then we will talk about the trends in PET packaging and the technologies Husky have to support you in capturing those trends. Let us first talk about what we're hearing from our customers. The first observation that our customers have been telling us is that they're noticing that since the onset of COVID, approximately 3 years ago, if you can imagine it, it was 3 years ago since it started, that households, their purchasing power and their purchasing decisions have been greatly changed. And after COVID, with the financial distress that we see in the market in many countries around the world, consumers are still adapting their purchasing decisions. We're seeing the same type of financial distress also with many customers. As their top line retail sales is capped by what the consumers are willing to pay for the products, they don't have that much room to pass on costs to the end consumer. At the same time, the bottom line operating costs, they are going up. As energy costs are going up, as transport costs are going up, labor costs are going up, and disruptions. So many of our customers are being squeezed on both ends. The bottom line costs going up, and as they're kind of held to a fixed top line revenue, as they can't really pass on so many costs to the end consumer. We're finding that this situation, with household purchasing power and the distress that some of our customers are seeing in the bottom line, is having an impact on PET packaging. The second point that customers are telling us is that they see more and more challenges to secure the supply chain. 10, 15 years ago, they spared no thought about having long supply chains around the world. But today, that situation has changed. It has become more important for many of our customers to secure the supply chain, source locally, and sell locally. A third point that we're hearing from our customer is their increased desire and increased pressure to meet sustainability goals. And there are two aspects of sustainability goals. There's the aspect of carbon footprint, making sure that you reduce your carbon footprint in your packaging as well as in your operations. And the second aspect of sustainability is waste management. How to develop a circular bottle-to-bottle system where whatever you produce can eventually come back to you, you remanufacture the material and produce the bottle again. This also has significant influence on PET packaging. And lastly, our customers are telling us that they're having a more difficult time securing and retaining talent. And this includes the operations and maintenance of their injection molding machines. Now, let us take a look at how does the PET packaging industry look like today in the Middle East, North Africa, and Central Asia. The countries producing or consuming rather the greatest amount of PET is Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Iran, with over 300,000 tons of PET consumed annually. Next, Pakistan, Egypt, and Algeria, between 125 and 300,000 tons of PET consumed annually. Then we have Morocco, Tunisia, and Kazakhstan in the United Arab Emirates, between 50 to 125,000 tons of PET. Then Uzbekistan, Iraq, Iran, and finally the rest of the countries. It is interesting to note when you take a look at the PET packaging consumption and compare it to the population of these countries, we can identify that there are some countries with significant potential for growth. And these include Egypt, Uzbekistan, Yemen, once the security situation is resolved there, Pakistan, and Iraq. All these countries exhibit very low PET consumption per capita. The next question is, where is PET packaging expected to grow in the future in our region, Middle East, North Africa, and Central Asia? And this growth is occurring with the support of strong long-term demographic and macroeconomic fundamentals. And with this tailwind, PET packaging is expected to continue growing in our region, with the strongest growth in North Africa, Central Asia, and Pakistan. Now, let us talk about what we see as the trends in the PET packaging itself. The next question becomes, how do we at Husky see the PET packaging itself evolve in the region and globally in the future? We believe that there are two most important influences that will guide the evolution of PET packaging. Firstly, the continuing evolution of consumer purchasing decision-making, which is now more focused on affordability and cost than ever before. And secondly, the rise of sustainability as a key driving force in packaging design. We will explore each of these points in more detail for the remainder of our discussion. First, consumer purchasing decision-making has changed, starting, like I mentioned before, with COVID 3 years ago. And now with the increased financial disruptions that they face, they are changing their decisions with respect to when and where they consume, what package and price they seek, and through which channels they shop. And as a consequence, beverage companies must continue to reconcile all of these changes and adjust their product strategy accordingly to the local realities. And this reality and the corresponding packaging strategies will be different from one country to the next. However, it is possible to observe some broad-based trends. For example, affordability has become an even more important concern for consumers, and this has manifested itself in the rise of preference for small and affordable PET pack sizes for soft drinks. And a good example of this can be seen with the proliferation of affordable small CSD bottles, such as shown on the right. The same trend can be observed for other types of soft drinks, including bottled water, aseptic hot fill products such as juices and still drinks. To a lesser degree, on the opposite side, we're also seeing an increased interest in larger, more affordable family pack sizes for at-home consumption, which PET packaging is also ideally suited for. This drive for smaller and more affordable PET packaging is also driving a corresponding strong interest in lightweight neck enclosure solutions. In fact, Wheat Husky has never seen such strong interest in lightweighting, including in the MENA region. And this interest comes from both the local and international bottlers. In fact, this trend started with bottled water. In North Africa, most bottled water is still packaged in 3025, and we're seeing some movement to convert 3025 to 2925, with a corresponding weight savings of around 2 grams in the closure and neck. In the Gulf and surrounding Middle East area, where most of the packaging, water bottled, is packaged in 2925, we're seeing strong interest to move to either 2622 or the 2522 neck enclosure solution, with also a 2-gram weight savings. If you take a look at the brand of Gumus, which is located in Turkey, we can see that they have very aggressive lightweight bottles employing the 2522 neck. We have a 22-gram 1.5 liter bottle, which is among the lightest 1.5 liter bottles around the world. 7.5s for 500 ml, also very aggressive lightweight. And then finally, the 330 ml at 7.5 grams and the 200 ml at 6.2 grams. We're also seeing in Turkey, at the opposite spectrum, a very aggressive lightweighting for the family pack size. Here we have the 5 liter at 54 grams, which is extraordinarily light. Similarly profound is the neck enclosure lightweighting that we're seeing in the carbonated soft drink category. The last 15 years, most CSD bottles around the world employed the PCO 1881 neck enclosure solution, and we're seeing a strong movement toward transitioning to the new standard, which is going to be the 2622 solution. On the left, we have the 180 milliliter small mono-size format for Daily Fresh brand in India, which has recently adopted the 2622 neck enclosure. And even international brands like Coca-Cola in Spain have also adopted the 2622 CSD solution. And this example here shows the 2622 solution with the tethered closure. Even in aseptic and hot fill products, which we call sensitive products, we're also seeing movements to convert from the 38 millimeter neck enclosure, which comes in either 3-start or 2-start, and they're being converted to the 32 millimeter 2-start standard. And in fact, our region in the Middle East is probably the most progressive in making this conversion. As we see here in my home country, we have in UAE, Hayatna, in India, there's Varun with a 32 millimeter, Egypt, Juhaina, Turkmenistan, Akyol, Egypt, Beatty, and Pakistan, you have the 1 liter Nestle. All have converted to 32 millimeter, and we expect this trend to continue. And finally, beyond soft drinks, even in edible oil, we're seeing neck enclosure lightweighting trends. The lightest standard today available on the market is the 2921 neck enclosure and the 2621 neck enclosure. And the closure comes either as a one-piece flip top or it can be 2 separate pieces. And this type of solution has enabled the world's lightest bottle, edible oil bottle, which is a 900 milliliter Algar bottle in Brazil, which weighs an astonishing 14 grams, which is even comparable to bottled water. To be able to capitalize on this growth of PET packaging, and more importantly, or just as importantly, enable the injection of these high quality, aggressively lightweight preforms, Husky's Hypit 5V platform is the leading solution available in the industry. The Hypit 5V is one of 2 PET systems platforms which are offered by Husky today. This system is designed for maximum productivity with the lowest cost of part production in the industry. It is also designed to enable injection at even the most challenging lightweight preforms in the market. In other words, it is designed for maximum profitability. Another significant trend we are seeing is the growth of conversion from other packaging materials for PET packaging. This is what we are hearing from our customers, and this is in line with the trends we are seeing in the market in all consumer packaged goods spaces. The reason for this interest in PET packaging are clear. PET packaging offers the best combination of affordability, performance, appearance, and recyclability. We're seeing this trend in all soft drink categories, with a continuing shift from aluminum can and glass towards PET. Especially recently, with the rising energy prices and supply chain concerns impacting manufacturing costs and the availability of other packaging of materials. Smaller CSD pack sizes are increasingly being launched in PET instead of aluminum can. This trend is also evident in food packaging, where more products are transitioning from other plastics and glass towards PET. In liquid dairy, new shelf-stable milks and liquid drinking yogurts are also increasingly being launched in PET. This trend is also particularly evident in home and personal care products, where PET is displacing H2PE as the packaging material of choice due to its recyclability and its superior performance. And finally, we see more and more 5-gallon or 19-liter home office delivery bulk water continuing its transition from polycarbonate to PET packaging. An important driver of this is the bottle-to-bottle recyclability and the cost and availability of PET. To be able to capitalize on this conversion trend towards PET in all the consumer packaged goods spaces that we have discussed, and enable the production of multiple preform SKUs, Husky's NextBet platform is the leading solution available in the industry. NextBet is the second PET system offered by Husky today, and it targets the mid-volume production range. The system is designed for maximum versatility, allowing for the shorter production runs of multiple preform SKUs. This is made possible by the lower cost of tooling and the quick mold changeover features included in the design of the mold and in the machine. NextBet is well suited to make all kinds of diverse preforms, included wide mouth preforms, jars such as this one shown here, and larger format sizes included the 5-liter and 10-liter containers. Flexibility and profitability at mid-range production levels is the core of Husky's NextBet solution. In fact, the competitiveness of NextBet has encouraged bottlers and converters to move from one-stage production of bottles to two-stage production of preform and bottles. Here's a case study of an edible oil company that produces 18 million 2-liter bottles per annum using 50-gram 38-millimeter preforms. This study looks at both the investment and operating costs of both the one-stage equipment and the two-stage equipment, and it concludes that there is a positive business case to move to two-stage production even at 14 million preforms. If you are interested, Husky can look at your application and production volumes and do the same exercise to confirm if two-stage preform and bottle production makes sense for you. We're now finished talking about the first important influence guiding the evolution of PET packaging, which is the changing consumer purchasing decision-making towards cost and affordability, and the consequential shift to smaller single-serve and also larger PET family pack sizes. This trend is driving more interest in package lightweighting, and it's also driving the shift to PET packaging from other materials. Now let us turn our attention to the second important influence guiding the evolution of PET packaging, which is the rise of sustainability as a key driving force in packaging design. There are two key aspects of sustainability, as we mentioned before. The first is recyclability and circularity and the reduction of waste, and the second is the reduction of the carbon footprint. Taken together, recycled PET is the most effective solution for sustainability, affordability, and availability to meet the needs of people around the world. PET is the most recyclable plastic material available, with the possibility of closed-loop bottle-to-bottle recycling within reach. This fact is immediately important in Europe, where they already have legislation mandating minimum recycled contents for all plastic packaging, and these limits will continue to rise. Brand owners are also looking at other options to improve the recyclability of the PET packaging. And these include, these include changing label material to PET. Today it could be another type of plastic material, PETG or PVC. It could mean sometimes removing the label altogether. This could also include moving from the more expensive two-piece closure, as it is still common in our region, to the more affordable and sustainable one-piece closure solution. It can also include the launch of colorless bottles, such as this Sprite bottle. Brand owners are also increasing commitments to make more of their bottles with recycled PET, such as these bottles made with 100% recycled PET bottles. As a consequence, this increasing demand is also causing what we observe, the cost of recycled PET to significantly rise. In Europe, all plastic beverage containers under 3 liters size are mandated to include a tethered closure that must remain attached to the bottle, even after opening. This mandate in the European Union is expected to reduce waste and littering. However, we are seeing interest for this solution even outside of Europe, as brand owners around the world recognize the possible sustainability message associated with tethered closures. And finally, brand owners recognize that lightweighting is not only a means to reduce the cost of your packaging, as we have already discussed, but also a vehicle to reduce virgin resin consumption and the carbon footprint of the package. Let us walk through one example of lightweighting. There are four principal focus areas of lightweighting of PET packaging. The first method is to switch to a new lightweight neck and a new, smaller closure, such as converting the PCO 1881 to 2622 for carbonated soft drinks, as we talked about earlier. The second method is to use a lightweight version of your existing neck, such as converting from PCO 1810 to PCO 1810 lightweight. This method saves less resin than the first method, but you don't need to change your closure and the impact to your filling line will be less. The third method is redesigning and optimizing the preform body to spare some material while ensuring critical bottle performance criteria such as top load, thermal creep under the sun, and gas retention are all respected. The last method is redesigning your preform base, your bottle base, to use less resin. Each of these four methods can be done independently or together as part of a larger, broader lightweighting exercise. In this example, we convert a 500 ml soft drink bottle from PCO 1881 to 2622 as part of a wider lightweighting exercise for this bottler who's shipping 400 million units per annum. As discussed before, the wave of 2622 CSD conversions has already started. It has started in Europe, where we have a number of countries already running this solution, and we expect that this will quickly expand elsewhere in Africa and other regions in 2023. And just for your information, GME 3040 is one of three variants of 2622 CSD neck enclosures available today. And from what we see, it appears that this solution will likely become the next standard to replace PCO 1881. So let us begin. The baseline weight of this 500 ml CSD bottle enclosure is 21 grams. Changing the dispensing system from PCO 1881 to GME 3040 will save you 1.63 grams, of which 0.35 grams is coming from the HDPE closure. The smaller GME 3040 neck also gives us an opportunity to reduce the diameter of the area under the support ledge, or DUS for short, diameter under support ledge. This could potentially save another 0.51 grams. Otherwise, it is also possible just to leave the DUS unchanged, and this will help minimize the impact to the filling line. Of course, you won't incur the 0.15 grams in savings at that point. Here in this bottle, we removed 0.3 grams from the preform and bottle body, which allows us to, at the same time, to respect all the bottle performance requirements for this brand owner. And here I repeat, we're talking about top load, we're talking about consumer experience, we're talking about thermal creep if it's a CSD bottle, or gas retention if it's a CSD bottle, and other types of characteristics. And finally, by making slight modifications to the shape of the preform base, we're able to reduce an additional 0.15 grams from the bottle. And this, in combination, achieves a total weight reduction of 2.59 grams, which, as I mentioned before, 0.35 grams comes from closure, and the remainder, 2.24 grams, come from reductions in weight in the preform, yielding a final weight for this bottle, or rather the entire package, of 18.41 grams. So what do we have? On the bottle side, we have been able to reduce the bottle weight by 2.24 grams. And if you do the math, it translates to 895 metric tons of resin savings per year when you consider 400 million units shipped per annum. Assuming today's PET resin price of around 1,250 USD per ton, it's fluctuating up and down, but this is the mean price in the last couple of weeks. It translates to approximately $1.12 million USD material cost savings per annum, which is equivalent also to a carbon footprint reduction of nearly 2,300 tons per year. So clearly, this is a promising business case and a sustainability case to be considered by this bottler. In addition to the lightweighting exercise, which results in a reduction of virgin material usage and reduction in carbon footprint, the brand can also elect to include a tethered version of the 2622 GME 3040 closure. As we have already discussed, the tethered closure promotes a positive sustainability image and also offers a chance to the brand to differentiate their product and advertise the brand in the market. What is the next step available to the brand owner to take sustainability even further for their PET packaging? That next step is to manufacture your bottle using recycled PET up to 100% recycled PET. In Europe, that same legislation that mandates a tethered closure is also mandating all bottlers to have at least 25% recycled content in their packaging by the year 2025, and a minimum 30% of recycled content in their packaging by the year 2030. Bottlers outside of Europe are also making strong commitments to increase the use of recycled PET in their packaging. And as mentioned before, all of this has increased the demand of recycled PET, which according to the laws of supply and demand is resulting in rPET prices going up and today costing nearly 1.5 times as much as virgin PET in some cases. This has forced some bottlers and converters to secure somewhat lower quality resin in order to be able to meet their sustainability targets that they have committed to. And this low quality resin has introduced additional risks in the injection molding process. Let's talk about those risks. First of all, recycled PET often needs to be dried at different conditions than virgin PET. So is your standard resin drying system configured and sized properly for recycled PET? Number two, recycled PET often comes in spherical chips as opposed to the cylindrical or square chips or cubic chips of virgin PET, which makes melting more difficult. And oftentimes you add liquid colorant to the recycled PET, perhaps a blue color, which even changes or increases the challenge of melting even further. So is your injection unit properly set up for maximum melting to avoid potential defects of the recycled PET and the colorant? Is your injection unit properly sized? Do you have the right screw? Do you have the right process? Number three, the increased variability of recycled PET results in dust accumulation in the mold vents. Do you have the right process? Do you have the right technology to be able to clean your mold vents? It might be helpful also to have some way to monitor the defects coming from preforms and way to eject them before they come and get delivered to your end customer. Husky has developed a suite of solutions on our HiPet 5e platform to help mitigate these risks. We have a fully integrated dryer, which includes a metal separator to remove any metal components inside the rPET chips. We have an integrated blender, which allows you to choose the percentage of recycled PET and virgin PET. We have integrated controls with the resin drying system in our injection molding machine. The hopper is optimized in process and in size for the proper drying of recycled PET and virgin PET, and also includes an optional oil condenser. The injection unit is properly sized for running recycled PET with the right throughput. We modified our screw to make sure we have optimized melting of the recycled PET pellets. We also have our state-of-the-art self-cleaning mold, which allows the producer to ensure that the mold vents stay continuously cleaned even if the recycled PET produces more dust. We also offer a downstream inspection system which specializes in detecting specific defects caused by recycled PET and remove those preforms from the others. These solutions that I've listed is part of our HiPet HPP 5e rPET option. And these options are designed for running recycled PET in pellet form. Today, more often than not, most of the pellets are spherical in nature based on the technology of the recycling equipment suppliers. But sometimes you have food grade recycled PET that comes in flake form. So we have the HiPet HPP 5e R flake option, which is designed to run recycled PET in flake form. Some of our customers want to run the recycled PET sandwiched between two layers of virgin PET. So we have the HiPet HPP 5e multi-layer, which allows just that. And finally, the latest technology we have is the HiPet HPP 5e RMTP. And RMTP stands for Recycled Melt to Preform System. Let's talk more about that one. In a standard recycling process, in the recycling machine, the input is often washed non-food grade flake. This material is fed into an SSP reactor and melted. Afterwards, it is pelletized into the separate chips, and we have food grade recycled PET on the other end. This food grade recycled PET is now ready to enter the Husky injection molding machine. The first step, the food grade recycled PET is dried in our resin dryer. It is then fed to the Husky injection molding machine, which produces the preforms. The energy consumption is the summation of the energy of the recycling system for the decontamination, the melting, and the pelletizing, the energy consumption of the resin dryer, and the energy consumption of our injection molding machine. What if we were to remove the Husky standard injection molding machine and replace it with the RMTP system? This system is fully integrated with the recycling machine. The melt produced in the recycling machine is fed directly to the RMTP machine. We skip the pelletizing step. We skip the pellets itself, of course, the resin drying step, and finally the extruder on our injection molding machine is no longer necessary because we're feeding the material straight from the recycling system. It's piped directly into the machine, resulting in a fully integrated system working together. The result of this is a significant reduction in energy consumption, and also better quality recycled PET, because we remove one thermal history with the removal of the extrusion step in the injection molding machine. This type of solution can yield significant carbon footprint reductions. One system can save an estimated 24,000 tons of CO2 emissions annually. Now, let us talk about ways and services Husky is now introducing to better support you, to adapt and grow your business. We have heard from our customers, and they have indicated to us that retaining and acquiring and maintaining their talent is difficult. They have more and more challenges to find the right people to operate the machines and to maintain the machines. So we're now introducing new types of services to support our customers in doing just that. Husky has developed and is now deploying on all our new machines what we call the Advantage Plus Elite program. This program provides you 24/7 continuous monitoring of your system's key variables. And this is accomplished with the support of our dedicated team of experts, which are sitting in Canada and Luxembourg. In the traditional approach, we have what we call the reactive approach, where you have a system in production, there might be some issue, it goes unnoticed, customer identifies the issue, gives Husky a call, Husky supports through an iterative process, supports to solve the issue, and then finally the machine is up and running. With Advantage Plus Elite, we have two levels of support. Number one, the machine has an integrated machine intelligence, which checks all the variables on the machine and anticipates if there's a problem. And if a problem does arise, it does send a message to our team of experts sitting in Bolton, Luxembourg, and now also in Shanghai, and will notify us of the potential risk. Once we get notified of the risk, we assess the situation and we immediately notify the customer. And this is what we call the "we call you" aspect of Advantage Plus Elite. This is a proactive approach to maintenance where you can rely on Husky's expertise, Husky's capabilities to help monitor and make sure that your machines are continuously running. Husky is also introducing the Hypet Complete, which is the next level in support, where Husky remains by your side, supporting your business to grow and adapt throughout the life of your business. And to learn more about Husky Complete, I invite you to please come and visit our booth at Gulf Food in Dubai. We are located in Hall 2, stand B24, and Gulf Food takes place between November 8th to the 10th, and we look forward to seeing you there. Here are some of the people in our region who takes care of Middle East and North Africa. We have Abdullah, who's the general manager for the Middle East. We have Stefano Roye, who's the general manager for North Africa. We have Michelle and Zahar, who support the Middle East regions. And finally, we have David Leonard, who's the business advisor who supports the Middle East and Central Asia. And finally, myself, the business development manager, supporting Middle East, Africa, and Central Asia as well. So thank you for attending this webinar. I hope you found it insightful, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you very much, Philip, for the wonderful presentation and the insights into preform manufacturing, both from a business and also technology standpoint. And we have a lot of questions coming in as we go through this webinar. We have quite a few questions lined up. So I'm going to quickly run through the questions that have come in. Philip, the first question is from Conin Shahidi from Almarai, the senior packaging development manager there. He's asking about the innovations in PET bottle. Is there any possibility to innovate PET bottle where label is not required? Coca-Cola has launched glass bottle without label in one of the markets as a test run. So is it possible to replicate something like this in the PET space?
The answer is yes. In fact, Coca-Cola in Japan and Korea have launched PET bottles which are labelless. So there's kind of two general solutions, two general approaches you can take. Number one, you can imprint in the blow molds the information that you need. You can put the logo there, you can put the whatever information to pass to the consumer, and when the bottle is blown in the blow mold, the plastic will take on the imprints on the inside of the blow mold, and you have that information on the bottle. So this is a solution that has been adopted in, for example, in Korea and Japan by Coca-Cola, as I mentioned before. Danone Aqua in Indonesia has also similar type of packaging for their, I think, the 700 ml bottle, and they're also doing the same thing for the newly launched 220 ml bottle, the same idea. Another way that we're exploring is to use laser engravings, where we put a special additive inside the preform, where when you apply a laser to this additive, it will either create a dark color, and you can use the laser to put some pattern there, apply the logo, put whatever information that you need. Or in some other ways, the additive will actually foam inside the bottle. So you can either have the approach of using the dark pigment, or you can have a foaming effect where you can use a laser to write text with that foam inside the bottle. So Husky's solution is a multi-layer solution with that, where we put that additive in the middle of the bottle, which is quite a nice solution, because in this case, if you put any text, you engrave any text with the bubble foaming method or with the pigment method, that layer is in the middle of the bottle. You won't feel that text on the surface of the bottle. It is engraved in the middle of the bottle, and this serves as an excellent counterfeiting solution as well. Thank you for the
Brilliant.
question.
Thank you. Thank you, Philip. There's a question from Akhtia from Prashant, the packaging development manager at Akhtia Group. How are equipment suppliers equipped with alternate material to, let's say, PLA or PHA, which might be probable solutions for an alternative source to manufacture bottles?
Okay, so the quick answer to that question, that we do have customers running our machines with materials such as PLA and with other materials like polypropylene and even other materials. So it is possible. It does require some changes because we have, first of all, the shrinkage model is different, so you're going to require a different tool. You're going to have different thermal settings in your heater bands and also your nozzle tip heaters. So there's going to require some adjustments in hardware and some adjustments in software to be able to run these types of plastics in our machine. But we do have customers who are doing it.
Brilliant, brilliant. There's a question. Thank you, Philip. There's another question coming in from Crystal Muriwal. She's from a company called Lamarck International. They do the branding and designing for brand owners. So prompting lightweighting as point of differentiation or premium positioning is not relevant in the Middle East. Same with using sustainability as USP while the pack is still PET and not good for the environment. So I don't know what's your take on this, sir, in this point that she's made.
We see around the world, and we also see a lot of inquiries from customers in the Middle East to do lightweighting. We do see interest, and the lightweighting serves to function. There's a cost reduction element of it, and we do have to keep in mind that the trend of sustainability is also being discussed in the Middle East. If you hear what's being discussed in the UAE, in Saudi, and we're even hearing discussions, for example, in Egypt with Nestle. Sustainability is becoming a concern, and the reduction of virgin material usage, reduction of PET with lightweighting is a way to reduce your carbon footprint. So I do believe that lightweighting is a positive. We see that in the Middle East that there is a positive push towards towards lightweighting. Of course, there's a limit of how much you can lightweight based on your bottle requirement. And sometimes you are trying to position a product in a certain market segment. There's only so far you can lightweight. But in places around the world, brands around the world who have fixated on high weights, they have moved to lower weights, and consumers have embraced the message of sustainability that comes with lightweighting and tethered closures and recycled PET. And I expect the same to be here as well.
Right. This is another question, Philip, from Konin Shahidi. What does Husky offer to the industry in terms of sustainable production process and least consumption of energy for production or producing of PET bottles? I think you touched this point very much in your presentation. Probably you can reiterate that.
Yeah, so it is in fact part of our Hyped Complete offering, where we do have specialists that can support our customers in changing the process to make sure that it's most optimal for running recycled PET. We do have resources that can do an audit of your factory to see if there are ways you can run your factory more efficiently, to be more productive, to be more energy efficient. So we do have services in those regards. From a PET packaging development point of view, we do have services which can take a look at your PET preform product portfolio and identify ways that you can make it more sustainable and more efficient in terms of lightweighting, changing necks, employing tethered closures. If you want to change to recycled PET, we can take a look at your existing install base and take a look at what you need to do to change your existing install base to be able to run recycled PET. Because as we mentioned before, we're finding that a lot of brands and converters and producers are running recycled PET of suboptimal quality. And even if it's good quality, they're sometimes running into problems with that. So they're coming to us, and we do have resources and capabilities and many years of experience to give them guidance, suggestions of what changes they need to make to the injection molded machines to run recycled PET. So I hope I've answered that question. If I missed any points, please let me know.
Sure. There's another question coming in from Gladwin. Is RPET or RPET, if RPET will continue to be more expensive than virgin PET, is the future of RPET sustainable? Or are we going to see the day that RPET costs will be less than virgin PET? That's the question.
So in principle, if done right, recycled PET should be quite cost effective because we are taking existing material and we are processing it to some degree to go back to the bottle. The challenge today, however, there's a mismatch in terms of what the commitments are made by international and local bottlers and producers, where they're making very bold commitments about how much recycled content is in their packaging. And this demand is outstripping the supply. So we do see a lot of interest for recycling operations to set up. I see a lot of international bottlers setting up their own recycling operations and independent investors jumping into this business. I do expect in the future that supply of recycled PET to catch up, to meet the demand. As of today, there's a bit of a gap, but in the future, that gap will be closed. And I do expect the recycled PET price to drop. And if we, for example, in Europe, see that closed loop recycling actually being achieved, then I do expect the recycled PET prices to drop quite a bit.
Sure. Thanks, Philip. We'll take two more questions, quite a few more coming in quickly. Colored PET bottles is certainly a challenge for recycling PET due to the variability and impurities in the recycling feedstock. What's your take on that?
Today, I would defer that question to a recycler, because at the end of the day, it's they who are managing the materials and they have to sell it. So it is the truth that today, if you're a recycler and you have clear or light blue washed food grade pellets or flake, that this is the product that commands the highest price. And greens are still okay, but if you go to other colors, it's more difficult for them to find offtake for those type of solutions. Now, there are some examples, for example, around the world where you have recyclers who are specifically set up to run those type of opaque colors. And for example, in our multi-layer solution, we have a customer in Brazil who is collecting these opaque and colorful bottles. They're recycling them and making black PET pellets. And these black PET pellets are in fact fed into the multi-layer machine to make the black layer sandwiched
Right.
between two white layers of PET for the dairy
Yeah.
bottles. So there are solutions there for managing that. But I would agree that in most cases, we're looking at clear, light blue, and light green flake around the world.
Okay, we'll take one last question, Philip, and all the other questions will be forwarding to you so that you can answer them later. So this is the last question. Please explain a bit more about Advantage Plus Elite and the benefits of this real-time monitoring system. What are the advantages for the converters for this from this technology?
Okay. So as I explained before, with Advantage Plus Elite, today you need to rely on if there are some issues with the machine which are difficult for your technicians to identify, you have many sensors on your machine, and it's very difficult for even experienced technicians to be able to catch all of the problems in the machine. And some problems are not even there, but there's a risk for those problems to occur. What Advantage Plus Elite is, it takes in all those many hundreds of variables from the machine. We have a lot of sensors all around the machine, and feeds into our database. And we know the patterns of if there's some input from one part of the system, another input from another part of the system, and we through experience know that the combination of these factors can contribute, for example, to maybe valve failure, or maybe some linear bearings failing, or what have you. We can, with our modeling, we can anticipate problems before they even occur, and we can notify. So this proactive methodology ensures that we can keep the customer running longer, that we can avoid very serious and long downtimes to try to resolve issues. If we're able to catch issues in advance, it helps to ensure that the customer is able to keep up and running. And this is the Advantage Plus Elite, and we're getting a lot of positive feedback from customers today who have Advantage Plus Elite installed on their systems. And today, each week, our Husky team, we are in close collaboration with the maintenance teams, and also from the aspect of learning, from the aspect of building up your local operational and maintenance teams. Advantage Plus Elite offers them an opportunity to learn. Because when we give feedback, they are also learning at the same time what to watch out for themselves. They're learning about the equipment. So this is a way to also develop the capabilities of your own team by being able to interact with our experts throughout the production of your equipment. That's the power of Advantage Plus Elite. That's why consumers our customers are enjoying having this service.
Brilliant. Thank you, Philip, for your insights. It was really thought-provoking, and it's going to be quite useful for all our attendees this evening. And many thanks for all the attendees who are here with us this evening. We will be sharing with you a detailed report of this particular webinar in the upcoming edition of Packaging ME magazine. And this video will also be sent to all of you so that you can view it again, and you can also learn from it at your own time. So once again, thank you very much, Philip, and thank you all the attendees. We look forward to seeing you all at Gulfwood. As Philip had mentioned, you are welcome to visit them at their stand, and we can have a feel, and we can, as they show and tell us their products, and I think it's a much more better way of experiencing all their technologies face to face. That will be a great opportunity for us to be there together. All right. Thank you very much,
Thank
Philip.
you, Ben. Yep. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, all of you, for attending, and hope to see you at Gulfwood.
Yes. Thank you. Bye. Bye.